Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gyro, and the Trial of the Ancestors League 3.22 of Path of Exile is almost upon us. It's less than 24 hours until the league launches at the moment of me recording of this video, and I know I'm a little bit late to the party. I should have started releasing these videos a week ago, but better late than never, as they say. Today I'm bringing to you a revitalized, updated version of my easy mode Necromancer, which I loosely refer to as the Minion army build. It is going to be the summoner build, very easy to play and very capable of reaching somewhere into the mid-end game. If we look at the tiers of the maps available, it is not going to scrape the end game and ruffle stomp every boss imaginable. No, it will not, simply because I keep my league status very simple and completely independent of any particular gear or any particular super high-end stats or any fancy moves such as expensive jewels or other kind of stuff. So welcome to this little build. You're looking at right now the Path of Building community fork, which is freely available on the PC. If you are on console, I'm going to look to include some screenshots for you in the description of this video. Otherwise, community fork, nothing beats it. Take a look at it, at least click the link and it will take you to a website that will give you a web version of this. So this community fork POB that we're looking at is already updated to 3.22, Trial of the Ancestors League. However, the footage that you're seeing of this build in action in the background was recorded on the build 3.21, the previous Crucible League and the Standard League that was supporting it. That's where my Necromancer template kind of character was, that I updated slightly, but this is where it's from. Now, what is good about this build? As any summoner build, if you're new to summoner builds, why I recommend it is because it is kind of like taking your dogs for a walk. Yeah, you are semi-passively on easier targets, especially you just kind of walk and your minions kind of kill everything around you. It is a rather safe build, especially as you are not pushing pinnacle bosses or anything without updating the build substantially further. It is, yeah, like taking the good dogs for a walk. I don't think I need to rant about it any further. I like this semi-passive playstyle. It is semi-passive because, of course, this build still has some actively engaged skills. It is not just about summoning the minion army, it is also very heavily reliant on summon Raging Spirits skill. Summon Raging Spirits is a wonderful skill, and I have another build different to this one that focuses on Summon Raging Spirits, maximizes the damage of Summon Raging Spirits versus spreading kind of this damage between all your minions, between this army that this particular build is focused on. Now, Summon Raging Spirits is going to be our active damaging ability, if you like, so to speak. We also are going to have a few other skills there that are going to allow us to boost our damage in the moment. I'm keeping everything not min-maxy, but as easy as possible. Always keep that in mind. Please do me a favor. Keep this in mind. So we are going to be relying on Summon Raging Spirit that summons phantasms, or gives them minion speed, offers them minion damage, and optionally you can swap one of these things out, such as minion damage, for Unleash if you want to go for the swarm, or if you want to use this cluster of abilities, this cluster of gems, in something other than the helmet. In this particular case, suggest as a 4-linked helmet, but you can use it somewhere that has 5 link sockets. That is, you know, if you choose to do so. It's not for this particular build. In Summon Raging Spirits build I would do it, but not over here. Here it's kept very simple, hence why Unleash is disabled. We don't have that over here. I strongly encourage you to take a look at the notes and read through them. I always preface this with massive amount of disclaimers and telling you that I'm not a min-maxer and all that kind of stuff, and that I suck at creating good Path of Building imports. I think I've spent actually substantial amount of more time on this Path of Building import, so there was a little bit of effort put into it. But why I'm saying it to you is because everything else I've put in, mainly the items, they were just the default templates that I've picked here simply so that my gems sit in something. Yeah, skill points tree is how I decided to build it. I will also overlay here in a second the kind of way to get there. And this path while you're leveling, with the numbers scattered right now around the screen, they're showing you as a leveling person where to go first. This is sort of early towards mid end game picture, and obviously this build is focused on maximizing the life pool of our witch, because life is always important, maximizing some of the block values and some of the synergies with the shield. This is not a two-handed staff build, this is a wand and a shield build, and naturally, we are boosting our damage of our minions as much as possible wherever we can. It's as simple as that, okay? In this particular case, we're taking Sacrifice, we're taking Spiritual Command, we're taking Righteous Army, we're taking Redemption. You guessed it. Like, that is the theme of this whole thing. Take a look at PoB import. I don't need to keep ranting on. Another thing that is very, very important if you're serious about entering the end game past, beating the bosses of the campaign, but even those will give you trouble if you forget about your elemental resistances. So that is a very important thing. Maximize your life pool with things like Constitution, with things like Tireless, with other kind of things, but also don't forget about availability of such things as Diamond Skin, such things as Practical Application, such things even as Holy Dominion, which is optional entirely, but this is for you to balance a little bit smarter, my friend, when you look at real items that you pick up, and you look at how much elemental resistances those items give you. Your items will give you a ton of resistances, I hope, right? And you also have the crafting bench. Don't forget that you have a crafting bench in your hideout, so go and craft missing pieces. You want to be maximizing all your elemental resistances because you can be taken seriously. Ascendancy, surprise, surprise, is the witch Necromancer. Mate, I would first go for Mindless Aggression, because Mindless Aggression just gives you way, way, way too much to ignore. That would be your first Labyrinth path. Then I would actually go for Commander of Darkness as a second pass. And then I would go for Bone Barrier, unless you want to go for Bone Barrier second rather than third, because getting that Bone Armor skill of level 20 actually counts for a lot. And what I would do with this Bone Armor skill once you get it, in case you're new to the game, yeah, it's possible, I would link it, I would bind it to your left click, to your movement skill. I would move it to your movement skill, so that it always procs, always automatically procs whenever you're walking. Whenever it's off cooldown, you will have that rather massive protection against physical damage. Who doesn't want that? That's great, don't you think? Now, I think so that's as far as the Ascendancy is concerned, yeah? The last thing that I would take is Unnatural Strength, because of course Unholy Might on minions is fantastic, but at the same time Unholy Might grants you quite a bit of physical damage as extra chaos damage. Well, chaos damage, we are not scaling chaos damage in this basic bare bones league starter build. We are not. That is why I'm not paying attention to it too much, and that's why it's lower on my priority, but yes, admittedly, it is still useful to you, yeah? As far as masteries are concerned, look, don't forget that you definitely need Reservation Mastery. You need Reservation Mastery because you'll have a few of the auras, yeah, if not heralds, running on you, and that will increase your damage. But at the same time, you absolutely need such things as Sovereignty. Sovereignty, even more so than Mastery of that cluster, Sovereignty increases mana reservation efficiency of the skills, otherwise you can't run as many auras as I'm running, and even then, my friend, take a look at the notes once again in PoB, even then you might, and I'm saying keyword here is might, you don't have to, but you might be struggling with mana. If you struggle with mana, what do? Notes tell you. But if you struggle with mana, you simply disable one of the secondary auras or secondary kind of stuff, such as Tempest Shield, for example. You could disable that and you will have a bit more breathing space. Your alternative obviously is to add a life tap gem into your clusters of gems if you want to squeeze it in somewhere there, so that you start taking the cost of the spell cast from your life instead of your mana. And that is what I do with Summon Raging Spirits as my main kind of actively engaged skill. I skipped the moment when I wanted to mention to you that we have one thing that is another actively engaged button, I suppose, and that button is Flesh Offering. Flesh Offering is great when you have corpses around, which you will have a lot of. Your dogs are gonna eat everything as you run around. This is gonna consume the corpse and empower the minions. Awesome, right? It's a great increase of their speed, it's a great increase of attack speed, it's a massive increase of damage. So on boss fights, my friend, you're gonna be using, well, summon Raging Spirits, yes, but they are not particularly buffed in this build, so they're not gonna be your meat and potatoes of this build. They are more like a garnish, right? But you're gonna be using Flesh Offering a lot. That's what I think. Also, don't forget, and I pointed out here, that I have also included in this build a mention of Frost Bomb. We don't have to do anything special with the Frost Bomb, and I have it in my, for example, if you only could find a 5-linked socket chest and the 6th socket, or buy it cheaply from the marketplace, yeah, and the 6th socket is not linked, it would be good to put Frost Bomb into it, simply because you will drop it on the bosses that are either leeching or regenerating mostly their life. Because Frost Bomb is going to stop that regeneration, and that is exactly what's gonna make it or break it for you on those maps where you just don't have so much damage to overwhelm the regeneration mechanisms of that boss, but Frost Bomb is gonna help you do that exactly. So these are the main kind of call-outs. As far as the Pantheon is concerned, and I'm not making a massive deal out of it, as far as the Pantheon is concerned, I always pick either Solaris or Lunaris, depending on how you like to play, slightly closer to the enemies or further away from the enemies, and also take a look at, do you struggle with a big swarm of enemies coming to you and you need extra protection then, or do you mostly struggle on bosses? So Solaris or Lunaris as the main boss, and probably something like Ralakesh, or maybe even Arakali, yeah, somewhere there, consider that. So Ralakesh obviously as a minor god, so that is what I recommend to you. And this is not an Atlas guide, this is a skill points and basic build guide. So for Atlas, how are we going to plan the Atlas? Obviously the league, the new league, the 3.22, Trial of the Ancestors has changed Atlas quite a lot. So I think that Atlas conversation is going to be a separate one after I had a chance to take a proper look at it myself. I hope you enjoyed this little guide. Please enjoy my build of the basic Necromancer Summoner Witch. Take your dogs for a walk, let them eat everything, and come back for more builds, for more updated stuff from me. I'm gonna be very, very active, a lot more active than I have been for a long time in Trial of the Ancestors League. Thank you for joining me today. Please give the video a like before you leave and subscribe for more. Goodbye for now.